Lately I've been low down, losing all control. Henny with the soda, I've been on a roll, life been taking toll. I just wanna roam, I've been running from them bad days, tryna take it slower. Party on occasion, I should ease the weight off my shoulders, yeah. I said we only getting older, yeah. Tell me, are you coming over? I need to know, is you falling through? Tell me what the move is, girl, it's been a cool minute, yeah. I just wanna know, tell me what's the hold up, wanna get to know ya. Girl, I wanna show ya, yeah, that I've got all the things you need from me. I wanna hear you say you still believe in me. I just wanna know.
Tell me it's the real thing. Tell me it's the real thing. I just wanna know. Tell me it's the real thing. I just wanna know.
I just wanna know.
Tell me it's the real thing. Tell me it's the real thing. I just wanna know. Tell me it's the real thing. I just wanna feel something real.
Lately I've been low down, losing all control, I admit it. All this Tennessee hit my limits. This might be all the here, let me finish. I get it, I know you tease me, love me for the leisure, only for the eve. See you searching for the meaning, hate the way we treat this. Why you in a rush? Know you got no business leaving. Why you always leaving? Know you want that repeat. Yeah, it ain't no way around it. We got a range about us. You got your way about you, not much to say about it. Still have your way around me. They say it was something special. Is it better where we left it? All this inside of my head. Know when you're ready, I just wanna know.
Tell me it's the real thing. Tell me it's the real thing. I just wanna know. Tell me it's the real thing.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. Today is a beautiful day. It's a beautiful Thursday in the Drag Queen City, aka the Queen City, aka Cincinnati, Ohio, city of my birth. My name is Nathan Ivy, and welcome back to the Nathan Ivy Show, where nothing is funnier than the truth. Men are allowed to be men, and of course, sucker MCs get dealt with. If you'd like to share your thoughts this morning, let me throw the number out to you, 513-873-7134. It is a magical code that will allow you to amplify your thoughts in real time. But it comes with a bit of a price, the maxim. Open your mind before you open your mouth. Other than that, it's all good. Good morning to you, family. On today's show, I want to talk about numerous things. There's not just one topic that I want to talk about. Some of this stuff will be local. Some of this stuff will be cultural. Hell, we might even talk about some international topics this morning. But if you're into interesting conversations, well, this is your morning destination for that. The Nathan Ivy Show, brought to you by the good folks at CDM, amplifying Black voices in greater Cincinnati area and beyond. Good morning to you. I only know one way to do it, family. I only know one way to do it. Good morning. I want to talk about everything. I want to talk about Paul Mooney's passing. We did not talk about him yesterday. I want to talk about his impact into our culture. I'll be honest with you. I enjoyed Paul Mooney's comedy because it was just so raw. Paul Mooney was just so raw with it. And he used to just burn people up, man. He used to piss off white folks, people in general. There were a lot of even black folks that didn't really like his brand of comedy because he was too raw, too confrontational with it. And that was the reason why I enjoyed it so much. And I thought it was I thought you need a Paul Mooney in the game. You need somebody like that. And now he's passed away. A lot of folks may not know the history of Paul Mooney and the way that he worked with a lot. Okay, what? Somebody got a promotion? That's great to hear. I love to hear that. That's great. Good morning to you and happy promotion to Crystal. But Paul Mooney worked with some of the greats in comedy. We'll break it down this morning. Also, when black men beef, there's a beef going on right now between the host of the All the Smoke podcast and a brother that used to play in the NBA. And it's not going, I mean, every day you get new videos. It's not going anywhere. When black men beef, is that a good look for black men beefing? I don't know. Is it justified? I've got a few strong opinions I'll share with you. Speaking of the NBA, LeBron James, where you at, Brian? Where's Brian at? Because you know he love him some Golden State Warriors. Be sending me messages. Where you at, B? You don't know the Los Angeles Lakers are moving on. They're going to get the 7th seed, which means they're going to be paired up against the Phoenix Suns, who have the 2 seed. And I'll be honest with you, I like this play-in format. I watched about 1/4 last night, then I was done. I was done before the game started, quite honestly. I think the game started at 10. I was done. So I got about a quarter in and I was out, and then woke up early this morning and watched the highlights on YouTube. Hella fun, but I like this new play-in system, man. It just goes to show you that something new, freshening things up is sometimes what's necessary, sometimes what's needed. Good morning to you. Anthony writes, morning, Chop Shop. Good morning to you. Good to see you. Andriel writes, good morning, Nate and friends. Good morning to you, Andriel. Good to see you. Jerome is in the house. He writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Charles writes, Grand Risings, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Crystal got a promotion. I love to hear that. She writes, beautiful morning, Choppers. Guess who got a promotion? Me. And I'm sure well-deserved. Kelvin writes, good morning. Wishing some congratulations to Crystal. Absolutely. Tiffany writes, good morning. Ronald Lackey is running for the U.S. Senate. He writes, good morning. Happy Thursday. Roy writes, good morning, Choppers. Good morning to you. Roy writes, it's not a good look. They're grown men in their 40s. They need to stop. And he must be talking about all the smoke beef between Matt Barnes, Captain Jack, Steven Jackson, and Kwame Brown. Let me give you some backstory. The brother at the top right there on the right-hand box, his name is Kwame Brown. And who is Kwame Brown for the folks who don't really get into the NBA? Kwame Brown is a former NBA player. And he was drafted first by he played 12 seasons. I didn't realize he played 12 seasons. He was drafted very, very early on in his career. He was a number 1 draft pick. Okay, straight out of high school, selected by the Washington Wizards. And he played for a lot of different teams, but a lot of people have looked at him as like one of the biggest busts ever in the NBA draft history. Now, what does that mean by bust? That means it's someone who people had a lot of great expectations out of. You get drafted number 1 or very highly, and then you don't live up to the expectations. And when he was drafted by the Wizards, the team president was Michael Jordan. This was before Michael Jordan became a majority owner of the Charlotte Hornets. He was a team president. And so Michael Jordan drafted him. And then Michael Jordan helped to tear him down when he didn't meet expectations. And so over the years, his name has come up sort of like in a laughing, mocking kind of way. Like, this dude he was trash, that kind of thing. How could you be 6'11" and not be a good ball player? And so that narrative about Kwame Brown has followed him for years. Even after his retirement, people will be on podcasts like the All the Smoke podcast. His name will come up and everybody will laugh. Well, apparently that got back to Kwame Brown and he wasn't having none of it. And so he just started making videos calling out the hosts of the All the Smoke podcast. And that's that bottom box right there where you see the 2 brothers together right there. I actually enjoy that podcast. As sports podcasts go, that's one of my favorites. I got into sports podcasts first. My first sports podcast that I got into was a podcast called The Knuckleheads. And then from there, I jumped over to the All the Smoke podcast, which I think I like their conversations better. They have some dope conversations. Matter of fact, they did the last interview with Kobe Bryant. They talked to Kobe like a month before Kobe died. It was dope. It was dope. If you're into that kind of stuff, you should go back and find it on YouTube and check it out. I generally like them for a couple reasons. Number 1, because I like them both as players. They're like credible players to me. They weren't like the best, but they were good players. They could hold their own. And I like the conversation. It's athletes to athletes. You're seeing a lot of that now with the advent of digital media and technology. Another one of my favorite podcasts around athletes is a podcast called I Am Athlete. Dope podcasts, again, all created and run and controlled by the athletes. And I love it. I love it because now these athletes, man, they got the money, they got the name, they got the technical know-how. They're creating their own media. And so you get a chance to interact and learn about what that world is like through a whole different lens. It's different when it's ABC or ESPN and when it's on a YouTube channel. It's completely different, and I love it. So they got a really cool podcast, and they have some dope interviews on the All the Smoke podcast. I mean, I really like their perspective. The other thing is that they're both pro marijuana smokers. Yeah, which again, adults can do what adults do, but I always thought, how are you an athlete and you're smoking weed? That's probably the reason why y'all didn't take it to that next level there. That's the difference. You never hear Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan or any of the greats talk about how they were smoking weed before the games and afterward, because it's going to affect your lung capacity. It's going to affect who you are on the court. But, you know, people got to do what they got to do. How many people out there ever smoke weed and then play basketball? What's that like? Can you even pay attention? So they've been going back and forth now for what seems like, well, I think it started like on Thursday, or it's like a week now. And Jamel Hill has gotten into the fray as well by adding her 2 cents. She does a podcast as well, which I can't remember, but it's dope. People should check it out on YouTube. But this brother Kwame Brown ain't having it. And I think it's because his feelings have been hurt over the years. People are always criticizing him, ridiculing him. So now he's simply going live with this. He's simply going live with that. Right here. He's simply going live with it. And it's getting thousands upon thousands upon thousands of plays and clicks and attaboys and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, if I had to take a side on it, I'm on the side of Kwame Brown. Kinda. Like, I feel like if people sitting around talking ish about you and people sitting around trying to ridicule you, well, it's only a matter of time before you snap back. It's only a matter of time before you react. It's only a matter of time before you say something. And so now he's saying something. So I get it. And I did watch an interview, not an interview, but I watched a video with Matt Barnes most recently in which he was inviting Kwame Brown onto their podcast, which is super smart. It's like, hey, let's not waste all this beef. Bring the beef to the podcast so we can monetize it, right? I get it. So we can take advantage of it. I get it, man. But when black men beef, and people out there like, oh, it's not a good look and we shouldn't do that. I mean, it depends on the scenario. Like sometimes it's what you got to do. Sometimes the beef is what you need to get to a better part in a relationship. I mean, that's just the way it is with men sometimes. You know, so sometimes you can have a friend and y'all cool, but y'all might have to butt heads. It might even get physical, you know, for that mutual respect to be reestablished. You know, it is what it is. I remember when I was younger, man, I had a friend named Boo. At first, we couldn't stand each other. We used to always fight. And after a few fights, we realized, hey, we like each other. Best friend I ever had. And it was because he knew and I knew that we was both willing to go there if necessary. Right? And so that kind of kept us both from going there. This is a strange number. Let me go to the phones and see who's on the line. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show. Oh, hold on, Kurt Flood. Hold on, Kurt Flood. Hold on 1 second, Kurt Flood. Want to make sure I got you plugged into the masses, Kurt. Hold on 1 second. I got to remember this number. Let me see here. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nathan. Listen, buddy, you know, something I thought, silly me, I thought the show didn't start till 8 o'clock. You know what I mean? So I was calling you up a little bit early, but I'll tell you what, I'll call you later, all right? And what I was getting ready to do was I was getting ready to email Carl Weiser, Jordan Kellogg, Kevin Aldridge of the Greater Cincinnati Politics Forum on Facebook. And I thought, you know, if Nathan has a publicly accessible email address, then why not include him? Anyway, my topic is, I've got 4 topics, okay? But the one that I'm posting to Friends with Nathan Ivey, the first one, is the attack on dissent by Black Americans through the posed anti-riot provisions being advanced through numerous state legislatures. So I hope to have that done today. And It'll be on the Friends Who Like the Nathan Ivy Show Facebook page. And, if you do have a publicly accessible email, I'll try and hook up with you later on that, okay?
All right.
And everybody have a good morning. I got to walk my dogs, but you all have this great show. And I've got 4 good topics that I'll try and post one each day.
All right.
And you have a good morning, and say hello to everybody on the Nathan Ivy Show. I love you all.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take it easy. That's Kurt Flood calling in early. Just FYI, like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour before the show is not a good time to chat because I'm preparing for the show. But I appreciate the love. He says he's going to post some topics. Okay, I want to see the topics. Let's take a look at them. 513-873-7134. So I do want to talk about that. Have you been paying attention to this beef? It's drama or whatever. But again, I see where the brother's coming from. I mean, how long is he supposed to be some laughing stock? I never even heard the man open his mouth before, speaking of Kwame Brown, until most recently. So I'm glad the brother got a voice and he's standing up for himself. It is what it is. Let's talk about national politics right now, where you've got a lot of national police who are very upset with the Republican Party. And they're upset with the Republican Party because the Republican leadership is trying to suppress the January 6th Insurrection Commission. So if you don't know, you've got members of Congress. Then, let's put it this way. The House of Representatives just yesterday passed the motion to move forward on the idea of creating a insurrection commission. So just like they had the 911 commission, and what did it do? Well, on the surface, it was supposed to investigate all of the different evidence and try to find some answers as to what happened to 9/11, right? It turned into a farce and basically was used to pull the wool over the eyes of the American public. And there's a lot of information that was buried in it, but that's the gist of it. So you've got the Democrats primarily and some Republicans that passed this just yesterday. And the idea is they want to do a deeper dive into what caused, what happened, and everything about the January 6th insurrection of last year. Okay, that's what it's all about. I'm sorry, of this year. That's what it's all about. But the Republican leadership doesn't want that to happen. Why doesn't it? Well, you'd have to ask them why. But on the surface, it seems like it's because they don't want embarrassing information that might be linked back to the Republican Party to come out. I mean, the reality is that what happened, the insurrection on the Capitol happened because the Republican Party and the former Republican president, they just kept whipping up everybody's emotions and they set the stage for it to happen. Okay. Right. Did they send marching orders to people? Well, we don't know. There's a lot that we don't know about. And we also just don't know how complicit the various Republican members of Congress were in this. And so you got Mitch McConnell coming out. Of course, he's a Senate Majority Leader. And he's saying that they're going to try everything they can to make sure it doesn't pass the U.S. Senate. It already passed the House of Representatives. You got 2 chambers in Congress. It's got to get past the Senate before they can, get this thing on the desk of Joe Biden. He'll probably sign it because people want to know. People want to know just how deeply involved were these members of the Republican Party. And why would you be opposed to a commission, right? These are the same people. This is the same party that when they had control of Congress, you know what they were doing? You know what they were doing during the Obama administration? They were just doing investigations into Hillary's emails nonstop. Like every other day, we got another commission into her emails. Every other day is about the damn emails, right? And it worked. It worked perfectly. She lost in 2016. That was the whole purpose. They knew she was going to run. They wanted to put as much bad press out there, bad mojo, and it worked like a charm. It worked like a charm. But now some of these same Republican leaders in Congress want to stop the idea of doing an investigation to figure out what really happened. And then I read that there is a group of Capitol police officers, right? Because Republicans love police. They love law and order until it doesn't benefit them. They love police. They pro-police unless you're talking about the Capitol Police on January 6th of 2021. Then that's another story. So they want to have it both ways. On the local level, when it benefits them, they're all about law and order. But just think about some of the Republicans here in the city of Cincinnati. How many of them have spoken out like with a full frontal, with all their energy about what happened on January 6th? I haven't seen a lot of it. And the reason why is because it embarrasses their party. The Republican Party is complicit in the insurrection in this country. And here's the thing about it, folks. If they could have gotten away with stealing the election, just stealing it, just straight up stealing the election from Joe Biden and the tens upon tens of millions of people that supported him, they would have done it. They would have done it. They tried to do it in front of us. They tried straight up to strong arm and steal the election in front of us in this lifetime. Like it just happened. It just happened last year. And that's already been forgotten because people are on to other things and COVID and Biden and all this kind of stuff. But people need to remember that the Republican Party, and they're all complicit, like across the board, from the national level to the state level. And in no way am I trying to say the Democrat Party is a panacea for our community. No, but I want to make this point. People need to understand that there is a big difference between these two parties. They look at things differently. They operate differently. The Republican Party would have stolen the election in modern day times if they could have got away with it. Trump would still be in office with his arms folded talking about, yeah, I won the election. No matter what, they tried. And even afterward, now they got all these, like in Georgia, I'm reading in Georgia that they're now in Arizona. The Republican legislature in Arizona is now looking at what Georgia did, and they're thinking, we should do that here. The Republican-led legislator in Ohio is looking at Georgia and thinking, we should do that here. I mean, as a matter of fact, just yesterday, Sister Iris and her group, they had on Joe Mallory talking about a bill that is on the table here in Ohio that would do just that. So people need to wake up. All this stuff about how the parties are two sides of the same coins, on some levels, you're right. But we need to understand the levels in which they are different. They are very different. They are very different. The modern day Republican Party is not the Republican Party of the 60s or the 50s. It is not the same. It ain't even the Republican Party of the 80s. They've got no shame. They've got no shame whatsoever. It's all about might makes right. If they can take it, they'll take it. If they got the numbers, they'll do it. It don't matter what the people think. And then they'll just run you some BS. They'll go to these focus groups and pay, marketers and people that run focus groups a whole lot of money to come up with the right phrasing, the right way to phrase their argument, and then they'll run with it. And guess what? It's working. It's working like a charm. So that's what's happening on a national level. You got the Republican Party that doesn't want to do an investigation into the January 6th insurrection because they know that they're going to find some stuff that's going to make the members of their party complicit. That's why. These mofos was opening doors. They opened up the doors. They were running guided tours with these motherfuckers like the week before. They wanted it to happen. In modern day times, it's quite amazing. Quite amazing. 5-1. Even after Biden was in the White House, you had all these men who would seem to be intelligent running around talking about, well, I don't know who won the election. No evidence to this day has ever been found that there was any election fraud. None. They just made it up. Just made it up. They're like, you know what? We're white men and we can just make up what we want to make up and nobody's going to hold us accountable. And that's what they did. That's what they did. If you ever want to know why this country is the way it is, just look at this January 6th thing. We can't even agree when people are traitors to the country because of politics. We can't even agree when people are wrong. Humans worse than COVID. Way worse than COVID. Way worse than COVID. Good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. Nat Rice, good morning, Facebook Choppers. Good morning to you. Brenda Rice, good morning from Fairfield. Good morning to you as well. Glenn Rice, morning, Nate and Choppers. Not the type to say I told you so, but I told you so. LBJ with a triple double last night. Yeah, triple double. Yeah, I mean, if you got a one game winner take all, I would take the Lakers over a lot of teams, especially Golden State. They just don't have enough. When Klay Thompson comes back, you got something there. Jenny writes, good morning, Nathan and Choppers. Happy 83rd birthday to my mom. Rest in power. Saying, okay, 83rd, huh? Absolutely. Absolutely. Here on that. Dell writes, Jordan never hit a game winner, 34-foot three-pointer with one eye. Hashtag the real GOAT, LBJ. I mean, listen, there's no denying that Jordan was one of the greatest of all time. I don't know. I think you have to go by eras. I'll go by what Jordan said. When Michael Jordan was asked if he's the greatest of all time, he himself said, it's not fair to do that. He said, I might be the greatest of my era. Rules changes, different levels of athleticism with the players, but you can't compare eras. So Jordan was the greatest of his era, and LeBron James is the greatest of his era. Simple as that. I mean, that's good enough for me. Cruther writes, good morning, Choppers. Tabitha writes, good morning. Kwame Brown is winning in May of 2021. He taking Barnes and Jackson soul. Yeah, he going straight for the jugular. And you know what? Depending on how they deal with it, it's going to be good for their podcast. If they could get Kwame Brown to come on the podcast, no matter what happens on the podcast, that'll be one of their biggest podcasts ever. No doubt about it. Because now people want to see it. They want to see them go face to face. And I think if they sat down, it would be a little bit tense. But at the end of the day, they'll probably be dapping each other and shaking hands as brothers and going on. I got no problem with brothers that beef with other brothers whatsoever. I got no problem with beef. I got no problem with controversy. I got no problem with confrontation. Sometimes that's necessary. You know, sometimes when you're dealing with people, sometimes you got to slap them across the face. Sometimes literally, sometimes rhetorically, so they can understand who you are and respect you. Even among friends, sometimes you got to do that. And it is what it is. If the friendship or the relationship is strong enough, it'll survive. And if it's not, then it won't. And it won't. You ain't losing nothing anyway. But I don't have a problem with beef if the beef is something you just got to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Just to get to the other side of things. But that's just me. I might look at it differently. Glorious resurrection. I saw that clip. That's what I mean. Do as men, tear each other down instead of building each other up. Yeah, but people been tearing down this brother Kwame Brown for years. For years and years and years, you know, people on podcasts been throwing his name out there. They need to put some respect on his name. Like Birdman said to the Breakfast Club. And so now he said, I'm sick of it. Enough is enough. I'm going to start using social media and snapping back. And he getting real petty with it too. Calling him, he called Matt Barnes, Becky with the good hair. Becky with the good hair. I don't know if all that's fair. But again, I mean, you know, I just feel like respect should be given all the way around. Even when you don't know a brother. You know, and if it's not, then you're going to get all the smoke. You know, it's so funny that the title of their podcast is so apropos. They wanted all the smoke. They're getting all the smoke. They're getting it. So deal with it. Let me see. Tracy writes, glad I missed it. Ronald writes, oh shit, put Kurt on a 5-minute time limit. Maurice writes, when he said codes, did he mean black codes? Tabitha writes, did you see Ohio's Tim Ryan yelling because he's mad? He was super pissed. Oh, man.
Gentleman from New York and the other Republicans.
Oh, let me see if I can pull it up a little second. You might be able to hear it here.
Supporting this and thank them for their bipartisanship. To the other 90% of our friends on the...
Hold on one second. So Tim Ryan, who was flirting with running for president, he said we need two political parties in this country that are both living in reality, and you ain't one of them. I'm going to tell you this, family. The political polarization is going to cost us. Watch. The fact that the Republican Party is living in their own world and they just make whatever has to go up, they say whatever they want to say, that's going to be a problem because they have work to do for us. And if one party is always playing make believe and making shit up as they go, and the other party still is less than perfect with their own issues, that's going to be a real issue. I was coming straight to you. Caller, call me back. I'll put you straight on. I was coming straight to you. We need two political parties in this country that are both living in reality, and you ain't one of them. Because you got a lot of members of the Republican Party that are running around trying to revise history as it relates to the insurrection. And the reason why is because they are complicit. They are guilty. That's what happens when you're lying for years and fear-mongering for years. People are going to react. That's what happened. I remember people was making excuses for Trump. He didn't do nothing wrong. He didn't say nothing, this, that. Please. They need to put his ass under the jail for what he said. Let me see if I can grab some video for you. You might find this interesting because I do. Let me see if I can grab this for you. Yeah, we got it. Check this out. This is Tim Ryan from Ohio. Check this out.
Nice for 30 seconds.
I want to thank the gentleman from New York and the other Republicans who are supporting this and thank them for their bipartisanship. To the other 90% of our friends on the other side of the aisle, holy cow. Incoherence. No idea what you're talking about. Benghazi, you guys chased the former Secretary of State all over the country, spent millions of...
Hold on, let me stop right there because Tim Ryan is making an excellent point that media needs to pick up on. The Republican Party talked about Benghazi for years. He is so right. They chased former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton around the world. Talked about her emails on and on and on and on and on. They never let it go. And it was nothing there. But yet some of these same Republicans don't want to have a commission on the insurrection that happened just this year, that cost people lives. A Capitol police officer was killed. We don't want to talk about it. But Benghazi, oh, they made Benghazi a household name. It just goes to show you the level of which the Republican Party will play these political games. We have to call it out for what it is. Drops party. Where you at? They talked about Benghazi. Again, I was on the air and I kept telling you, fuck Benghazi. I didn't care about Benghazi. I was sad that Americans lost their lives, but I could see that the Republican Party was trying to politicize it. That's all it was. And it worked, people. It worked like a charm. That's part of the reason why she lost in 2016. Because the Republican Party did a great job of damaging her before she even announced that she was going to win. That was the whole point. I got into it with Chairman Mom about some Benghazi. I never forget it. I'm on the phone with her, and she starts talking about, I don't know if I can vote for Hillary. What about those emails in Benghazi? I looked at the phone like, what the fuck did she just say? What? And we got all into it. Me and Chairman Mom, she ended up hanging up on me that day. And if you know my mother, that's not uncommon. You be on the phone like, yeah, I got to go, bye. Click. She don't spare none. She hung up on me that day. Like, I'm sick of what he got to say. I'm your mama, right? I'm like trying to walk her through this. Like, Ma, don't fall for this. I can't vote for no Hillary. They played a number on the American psyche using sexism. That's all it was. The base of it was sexism. You don't want no woman like that to be president. What about Benghazi? What about Benghazi? What's your point? So Tim Ryan's made an excellent point that I just had to stop to underscore. Now, these same Republicans don't want to do an investigation into the insurrection. It's just too much.
Dollars. We have people scaling the Capitol, hitting the Capitol.
Hold on 1 second here. I'll try to get back and recover that here in a second if I can. Yeah. Here it is. I think I got it. Yeah, I think we got it again. I'm not sure what that was.
The country spent millions of dollars. We have people scaling the Capitol, hitting the Capitol Police with lead pipes across the head, and we can't get bipartisanship. What else has to happen in this country? Cops. This is a slap in the face to every rank and file cop in the United States. If we're going to take on China, if we're going to rebuild the country, if we're going to reverse climate change, we need two political parties in this country that are both living in reality, and you ain't one of them. Coherence.
I mean, he makes an excellent point. Like I said, the Republican Party, they love police. They so pro-police. Generally speaking, there's a shooting. They're on the side of the police no matter what. Police. We love police. Unless they're Capitol Police, and it happened on January 6th. Now, that's inconvenient. He's right. An officer got beaten over the head with a lead pipe and was killed. And you got Republicans in Congress. This is Hillary Clinton's fault. But what about Black Lives Matter? Like, literally, that's what the argument is they're making. They're making the argument that this is laughable. I mean, you can't even make this shit up. The Republican leadership in Congress is making the argument that they don't want to support an investigation into the insurrection on January 6th because it's only going to focus on the white folks. They wanted to focus on Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Literally. And people need to know that. Yeah, they love police officers. If you're a police officer, they love you when it's a local issue, when it's convenient. But when it has to deal with making their leadership or membership look bad, oh boy, we ain't got nothing for the Capitol Police. To the point where you had members of the Capitol Police that actually spoke up. They said it was a slap in the face. They're like, wait a minute, hold up. You don't want to investigate this? Capitol police officers begged Congress to investigate the insurrection. That's BuzzFeed News. Capitol police members rebuked Republicans for abandoning the January 6th commission. Well, when you're dealing with a Republican Party that's abandoned the truth, abandoned common sense, abandoned decency, well, abandoning Capitol Police is easy. On Tuesday, April 13th, 2021, William Billy Evans was laid to rest. He was the man that was beaten in the head with a lead pipe and was killed on January 6th by white terrorists. That's what they were, primarily. I've seen a couple brothers in there like, really, bro? This really what you want to do today? But primarily that was homegrown white domestic terrorists. Their plan was to storm the Capitol, detain, arrest, and even execute members of Congress that they didn't like. That was their plan. And you got the Republican Party, generally speaking, because they had some members that defected and voted for their conscience, but the vast majority of Republicans in Congress all got in line and said, you know what, we don't want to know any more about this. We don't want to know any more about this. So you can never say that Republicans care about police. They don't. Police are just a tool that they use for politics. Nothing more than that. I live in Ohio. I live in Cincinnati. How many of these Republicans have spoken out about what happened against the Capitol Police? How many of the local Republicans are going to speak out in favor of this insurrection commission? Like I said, I talked to Alex Triantafilou behind closed doors, and I mean, he puts on his clown makeup for Trump. He puts on his clown makeup for the party. Like, he's admitted that to me. Like, yeah, I know, but this is what I got to do, Nate. Yeah, so they know, but they're willing to do that because of power and influence. Like I said, Alex Triantafilou used to put on a big red nose and put on his clown makeup for Donald Trump. And he knew what he was doing. He knew because he told me as much. Like Nate, hey man, hey, it is what it is, bro. Gotta do what I gotta do. Clowning for Trump, clowning for the Republican Party. But again, power and influence is more important than what somebody thinks in the moment. He don't give a damn about what we think or I think. All he cares about, speaking of Alex Triantafilo and all these Republicans, all they care about is staying in good graces with the party. That's it. Because look at what happened to Liz Cheney. That was as much about the other members of Congress as it was about Liz Cheney. Because when they pull her chain, everybody else stands back like, oh boy. Everybody else like, oh, I don't want that to be me. Come on, you know how humans are. When you see you're on a job, you see the boss call somebody out, you like, oh shit. Let me make sure I'm on top of my game here because I don't want that to be me. And that's what they're doing. So I want to make that point. Props to Tim Ryan. He's the Democrat from the 13th district covering Akron, Warren County, Youngstown, and Alliance here in Ohio. But great flows. I thought he was 100% spot on in everything he said. Glenn writes, a 911 type of commission, right? Brent writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers, checking in from Dallas, Texas. Good morning to you. Tabitha writes, they need to take accountability for that insurrection, right? Glenn writes, don't forget Benghazi. Can't forget Benghazi because the Republicans kept talking about it. I did my research. I'm like, this ain't Hillary Clinton's fault. It wasn't her fault. If anything, it was decades of U.S. foreign policy. That's the real blame. The fact that we want to project our power all over the country, build bases in other people's country, tell them what to do, drop bombs when we want to, kill innocent people and say, well, we're doing it for a good reason. Sorry about your daughter. How long you think people are going to take that before they start snapping back? But they wanted to blame Hillary Clinton, and people did it because she was a woman. Because I've noticed it, man. You show me a strong woman. You show me a strong, don't let her be a black woman. You show me a strong woman that says what she says, and it is what it is. And some women are going to have a problem with her. They ain't going to like her. So who she thinks she is? Yeah. You ain't always right. I've seen it. I work with strong women. I hear it. I'm telling you. I see it on a regular basis. So it was sexism as well. And again, to my audience, I'm telling you something we've already talked about. I told you that's what the plan was, and it worked like a charm. Hillary ran for president. She had all this baggage. She shot herself in the foot. She didn't run a bad race on top of everything else. But she had this baggage that was put out there by the opposition party. Now, that's what the opposition party is supposed to do, right? But we are supposed to be critical thinkers to see through that so we can see what the truth is. Benghazi, I don't want to say I didn't give a damn because, again, American lives are lost, and I'm sympathetic. But I saw it for what it really was. It was nothing more than politics, nothing more than that. Glenn writes, Cincinnati is full of MAGA maggots. TNT writes, I'm going to go to Mitch McConnell's Twitter page and posting what he said on the day of the insurrection, just to remind him and his supporters exactly who he blamed for the attack against the Capitol, Trump. But see, that's what they do. They talk the real shit in the moment and then slowly go back to their political position when people aren't paying attention anymore. So yeah, initially he'll say, yeah, the former president, but then everything he does after that is all about protecting the party. I say, if it's real, put it out there. That's what I say. Glenn writes, Democrats are nowhere perfect, but far better than the Republican Party, I'm just saying. TNT writes, they have no spine. They have zero integrity. It's part of that, but they also want power and influence. They want to stay in good graces with the hold on a second. Okay. Hey, we got John from Florida on the line. Hey, John, sit tight. I'll come straight to you, brother. But they also want power and influence. They don't want to be primaried by somebody who's more conservative than them in their home state, right? The Republican Party has a lot of leverage with some of these folks, and they use it. They exercise it. And what they did to Liz Cheney was another example of it. It's kind of like, hey, she's number 3. She's Dick Cheney's daughter. She's a somebody. And look at what we did to her. You're a freshman congressman, right? Yeah, you won your first term, but you up for reelection in 2 years. You want to be one and out? Because we'll primary your ass. We'll get somebody who loves Trump even more than you. And guess what? The poll numbers in your particular district say that they love Trump. So you better love Trump if you want to keep coming. You want to keep your office here? Want to keep coming to the Capitol building, feel like a somebody? Then this is what you better do. And guess what? That's what they do. That's what they do because they want that second term. Generally speaking, what does a first-term candidate or a first-term elected official want more than anything else? A second term and a third term. They want to, once they get in office, they get that power, they get that influence, people kissing their ass, they get invitations to all of the galas, people asking for their opinion, and they're somebody now. They matter. They don't want to, a lot of people don't want to get that feeling up. That's a great feeling, I'm sure. They don't want to give that feeling up over something that they can live with. It's like, yeah, it's just a little lie. It's like, yeah. But the bigger picture is I can do more good if I'm in office, right? It's the kind of lies that people tell themselves to do what they want to do. Deshauna writes, good morning, Nathan. I am all grateful for another sunny day and waking up to enjoy it. I agree with you. Deborah's in the house. She writes, good morning, Nathan the Choppers. Good morning to you. Tabitha writes, we need some people of color to infiltrate and join the Republican Party so we will be able to rock the boat. I love that. Crystal writes, who did city council vote to receive that Fed money yesterday? Tried to watch. It was very long-winded. Any intel? Well, actually, yeah, I've been paying attention to that. And I do have some updates to share with you. Hold on one second here. Let me grab it. And I think it's important. This is all about the money, right? Right? It's all about the money. So I'll definitely share that with you before we end the show. And I'll share a link with you where you can read more about the details of it. Somebody sent me a link like, see, this is why we need people down there in City Hall that's got more integrity. I don't know. It seemed like the same old people had their hand out, and those are the people that got the money put in their hands. That's what it seemed like to me. But again, we shall see. We shall see. But I'll share that with us, Crystal, before we leave the show today. TNT writes, we will have a petition against HB 294 out today. There will be a hearing today, just the proponents. You have to listen to the rationale for the voter suppression bill. Oh, absolutely. Shannon's in the house. Hey, good morning, Shannon. He writes, if he would have won, there would be no questions. Absolutely. Good morning to you, sis. Sarah writes, Grand Risings family. Another Crystal writes, good morning. Such a beautiful day. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's going to be a great day today. Nat writes, why did Kwame say Matt Barnes sleep with a bonnet? Because Matt has, I don't know, straight hair. I'm not sure he's biracial. His father's black, his mother's white. So he's got a different type of hair. And Kwame is fixated on it. It is what it is. Carmelita's in the house. She writes, good morning, folks. Sitting at dialysis. Hope y'all have a great day. Absolutely, Carmelita. I've been sharing your post. I am aware that you were looking for a kidney transplant. Again, go to Carmelita's Facebook page, everybody, and just take a look at the information that she's posted. As she said, she's sitting in dialysis right now, which I'm sure is not her favorite place to be, but she is in search of a kidney transplant, and she's looking for a donor. This is life and death. So I want to make sure, that I do my part to let people know what's going on, how they can be of help to her. You never know. We might find a donor in the audience. Could be a friend of a friend in the audience that becomes a donor. I don't know. Tabitha writes, R.I.P. Paul Mooney, the GOAT. That's right. Paul Mooney was a monster, boy. He was a monster of comedy. And what I love the most about Paul Mooney is his unapologetically full frontal critique of race in America using comedy. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I know he made some audiences very uncomfortable. I know he came to Cincinnati, and I was told by some people who was there that some people walked out. To me, that's great comedy. That is great comedy of his type. Like, everybody does different types of comedy. For me, I like the kind of comedy I like all kind of comedy, but the older I get, the more I gravitate to comedy that's more about the social and political and stuff that can make us laugh and make us think at the same time. I like that kind of comedy. You know what I'm saying? Make me laugh, make me think. Make me laugh at something that when I think about it, I don't have good feelings. That's what I got from Paul Mooney. And I won't play any of it here. You can find it on YouTube, but that brother right there. Not to say he was a perfect man, because there's all kind of stories coming out about some of his sexual picadillos and things he was involved in and people he was involved with. I don't know. Doesn't really matter to me as much as what he said when he was on stage. And the brother was just one of a kind. Like, who else is out there? Who's the next Paul Mooney? That's my question. Is there another Paul Mooney? They don't make them like that anymore. I mean, to get a Paul Mooney, I think that you have to come up in the same era that Paul Mooney came up in. He was a trailblazer. He wrote for, among others, the Richard Pryor. He appeared on the Chappelle Show. He died just a couple days ago. But at 79, and get this, family, he suffered a heart attack. Here we go again. He suffered a heart attack. You don't have to have a heart attack at 79. But maybe that's just old age, but I'm telling you, heart disease is killing us. It's killing us. And in a lot of cases, it is preventable. It is 100% preventable. Eating right, exercising, staying away from the DRUGS, the drugs, the weed, the alcohol, the weed and the alcohol as a combination. Staying away from that stuff. And the harder drugs out there. You're killing yourself, family. Don't do it. Don't do it. Be better than me. For me personally, what I can say is I took that opportunity to change things. Again, the next time you see me, for people that know me, the next time you visually see me, you're going to be like, what happened to you, Nate? What happened? I got busy. And you can get busy too. Don't take Tiny Lister, heart disease. Debo, heart disease. That's what killed him. Wasn't COVID. So love yourself, family. Every day when I work out, in my head, you know what I'm saying to myself on some levels when I'm not thinking about other things, because that's like a meditation time for me, is I'm literally saying, I love me. I love me. Because I love me some Nate. I love me some me. Paul Mooney, R.I.P. But he was one of the greats. Anybody know Paul Mooney's real name? People think it's like a big deal for you to take a stage name. I've had to deal with myself. It makes me shake my head. I'm like, okay, whatever, but okay. But he was born Paul Gladney. Paul Gladney. And he's best known for writing for comedian Richard Pryor, going way back to season 1 of SNL, Saturday Night Live. I mean, he did it all, man. He was a contributing writer for Red Fox. He was a writer in the first year of In Living Color, classic. That first couple of seasons of In Living Color was super dope. Let me see. He also wrote and performed sketches on the Chappelle Show, which a lot of people probably know him. But just think about right there. He worked with Red Fox. He worked with Richard Pryor, and he worked with Dave Chappelle. Like, you talking about greats on greats on greats. Let me see here. I'm trying to figure out the last stand-up I saw from Paul Mooney. Because Paul Mooney was just, oh my God, he was just so raw. I'm going to go back and watch some Paul Mooney today just to remind myself and remember the man. I loved it. He had heart too. You know what I'm saying? I take a Paul Mooney over a Kevin Hart any day, even though Kevin Hart's type of comedy is going to be more commercial. He's going to make more money. But for me personally, if I can only go see one, let's say they're both alive, I'm going to go see Paul Mooney any day because I can see that Kevin Hart shit from a lot of different people. Everybody's doing that kind of comedy. It's only one Paul Mooney. It's only one. Oh, man. That's, hold on, I'm on his Twitter page right now. Let's see what it is. I am the real Paul Mooney, godfather of comedy, author and producer. Okay, I'm on his Twitter page right now, which I don't know if his family's going to run it. I see Ray. Ray, okay, what's up, Ray? Hey, Ray is everywhere. Damn. So I don't know. What's your take on Paul Mooney? Where does he rank as comedy greats? If there was a Mount Rushmore of comedy, would Paul Mooney be on it? Should he be on it? You tell me. 513-873. To me, yeah, every day, all day. Every day, all day. Akeem writes, all the smoke should be about black people capitalizing off the marijuana industry. Following grown man beefs is for the birds. I like that idea. And they're doing that on some levels. Like, I think Matt Barnes has his own brand of cannabis coming out or something like that. That's cool. But in today's world, when you're dealing with human beings, the drama and the beef, the grown man beef, that's going to be a part of it as well. I think the moral of the story is watch your mouth and watch what you say about people. I mean, because in today's world, all you got to, just like this, you can go live and catch people's attention just like that. Ronald writes, so we need two political parties that live in reality. Haha, no, we don't. They are causing the division and they are driving us apart. Holy cow. I got his point, Ronald. What he's saying is that by and large, the Republican Party has abandoned common sense. And it's just all about politics. I noticed this 20 years ago, 25 years ago. So this ain't nothing new. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nate. This is the voice of reason. This is Deborah Nesbitt.
Hey, good morning, Deborah. How are you?
I'm doing good. Called in to say rest in peace to the great Paul Mooney. I was fortunate that I actually got to see him in Chicago. It was a great show. It was Paul Mooney and Dick Gregory. That's how old I am. And Dick Gregory did a great set. Paul Mooney, it was a room full of black people. I swear he almost got booed off stage. It was only because he's such a legend and because like black people really love him that he didn't. But he was as hard. His critiques on race could be very hard on black people too. We forget about that. He was very hard on us. And his sets, if he was in a mood, he would play against the room. Like, you had to really, really be on some next level. He wasn't just like up there telling jokes or one-liners. He said what was on his mind. I mean, he called out people in the room that he felt like were not on point, like, you know, for designer things or whatever, like as participating in capitalism. It was brutal. It was brutal. And just thinking about it now makes me laugh, which shows you what a legend he was. He was cool, but yeah, it was brutal. I enjoyed it, but a lot of people were like, "What was he doing after the show?" It was like, I don't know. You either liked it or you either loved it or hated it. There was no in between. A lot of people walked out. It was it was insane. That was his way. That was cool. It was amazing to watch. So rest in peace to Paul Mooney. You were talking earlier about how the Republicans are just they've been on this thing for a while now where they live in the land of white supremacist make believe. But America has always lived there. This is nothing new. Like slavery, talking black people aren't people. They're just, some kind of lesser beings, and women and children were property until not that long ago. We talking about Hillary and Benghazi, we forget. I mean, the only reason Bill became president, honestly, is because Hillary couldn't at the time. Like, she shot her shot because she's the smartest person in the room. Hillary Clinton is brilliant, and people don't want to hear that, but she is. And it's hard being the smart, nerdy girl. Believe me, I know. It just is. You know things, and nobody wants to listen to you. And it's hard. But Hillary was always smarter than Bill. She probably fell in love. He was probably kind of hot back then. She just hitched her wagon to a rising male star, but Hillary was always the smarter one in that couple. And she still is. She's just brilliant. It's just hard. It's tough on women. It's tough on women to be smart in America. It's tough. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's tough to be a smart Republican woman, even though that's almost an oxymoron. But I remember Sarah Palin, like how she's kind of ditzy, but I remember they like criticized her for how much money she spent on her family. She had like 7 kids and her husband. They're like, "You're spending too much money on clothes." I'm like, she did great. Like, I mean, she's presenting herself on a national stage. Like, she had to do what she had to do. It's tough being a woman. You get criticized for the most ridiculous things on it. But I don't know. Liz Cheney is just an idiot. Right now, there are 7 things. I wrote this thing yesterday on Twitter. I think I put it on Facebook too. There are 7 things you cannot prove to a Republican right now. The first one is Joe Biden won the election. You can't get them to say it. Like, they'll say he's the president, but they won't say he won the election fair and square. They won't say it. They go on all the talk shows and the little political bobblehead shows. They will not say that he won the election fair and square. They'll just say he is the president and whatever. That's all they'll say. They do not believe that Trump lost the election. They believe he won, or they believe there were some political shenanigans that are keeping him out of the White House, which is not true. Trump lost. He lost by a big margin. He lost by millions of votes, and he lost in the Electoral College. He just lost, period. The third one, they don't want to believe that the January 6th insurrection matters. Like, just like Black Lives, they don't believe it matters. They want to keep this whole idea that January 6th was, just tourists coming in the White House, and they were just overexcited, and it was Antifa pretending to be conservatives, like, the Boston Tea Party, where, the white folks dressed up like Indians and threw the tea in the harbor. They want to act like it was really the opposite side. It's just, they just have no sense of reality. Right now, the big thing is they don't believe in the 1619 Project. And the lady who wrote the 1619 Project, or was majorly responsible for it being produced, she was denied tenure at her university because the conservatives have doubled down on how the 1619 Project and critical race theory are bad for America, bad for America's children, teaching racism. They don't want to hear it, and it's ridiculous. But to deny that slavery has had an impact and is still having an impact on this country, I mean, anybody who denies that is just they don't have a sense of history, and they're just wrong. They don't believe that Black people voting. They believe that Black people voting is fraud. It's craziness. Like, they just don't want us to vote at all. They've never wanted us to vote, though. There's this lady, Heather Cox Richardson. She does these talks twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays or something. And she brings a sense of history to what's happening now. And she tries to tie it into like everything in the past. And even though she tries to like not make everything focus on race, because that's what white people do, they want to believe that nothing is focused on race. Every last one of her talks boils down to white people trying to keep us enslaved, white people trying to keep us from housing, white people trying to keep us out of education, white people trying to keep us from jobs, owning businesses. Like, everything in American history is about them trying to keep us from doing stuff so they can profit off of our labor. And I don't know, they don't care. They're so cruel. They will deny us anything. Oh, that's my baby. My kids are being mean to each other. I don't care. The last thing they don't believe in is, 2 things. They don't believe that COVID is not the flu. They don't want you to mask up. They want to open everything back up. They still don't believe in COVID. They still don't believe in climate change. Like, climate change is real, y'all. The glaciers are breaking up. We have crazy weather patterns. And it's affecting Black people in places we're not even aware of. Like, all these brush fires and earthquakes and floods. I mean, it's not affecting us maybe here in the plains in the Midwest, even though it is. Like there are weather patterns here. Like why is it 80 degrees in December in Ohio? Like that. When I was a kid, you had deep frost winters here. Now that doesn't happen here. So those are 7 things you just can't prove to a Republican right now. They're just not hearing it. They live in their magical imaginary la la land, and they're doing it on purpose. They say that, they control the reality, and that's part of what white supremacists do. They make you waste all of your time just proving their basic lies, and in the meantime, they moved on to something else, and we're still trying to refute the reality. It's basically to wear us down, exhaust us, and keep us fighting them so they still get all the power, all the marbles, and they're still running things behind the scenes. It's insidious, and honestly, I don't know. There's really only one solution for it, but you can't talk about it without black helicopters circling over your house. So honestly, somebody's going to have to just call them out for their lies. We're going to have an all-out insurrection or an all-out. I don't know. It's going to have to be one of the mind. It's going to have to be one, hopefully, of voting. We're going to have to get in the streets, and we're going to have to drag these people out of the halls of state and say, look, this far, no further. The line must be drawn here. Words of the great Captain Picard. So rest in peace, Paul Mooney. That's my sermon for today. I'll see you on the internet, Snake.
All right.
Have a good one.
All right. Took us to church for the sermon. I appreciate it. That's Deborah Nesbitt. She said the voice of reason, I think. I'll take it. We need some reasonable folks here because some of y'all folks is unreasonable, and you know who you are. Good morning to you. Let me take a quick pause for the calls, and we'll come right back. It's the Nathan Ivey Show, brought to you by the good folks at CDM, live, local, and vocal, and I'll be right back.
Real. Baby, listen to me, here's the deal. When you're not here, I'm not the same. I'm needing a new chapter, babe. Been stuck here in a bed for days. I've been staring at the telephone, cause when you're gone, I miss your face. Late o'clock, body talk. There's no need to bring it up. Nothing you say makes it better. Wrecking ball. Hey, bring it right back to me, baby. No, we've been here before. Give me the real this time. No cap, no lies. It's our encore. Bring it right back to me, baby. I know my heart wants more. Give me the good this time. No cap, no lies. It's our encore. I never wanna give you up. I know we've been through way too much, but I'm confident we'll make it through. I'm here for you. You're not by yourself. Late o'clock, body talk. There's no need to bring it up. Nothing you say makes it better. Wrecking ball, tear apart. Issues left behind, restart. Nothing you say makes it better. Bring it right back to me, baby. No, we've been here before. Give me the real this time. No cap, no lies. It's our encore. Bring it right back to me, baby. I know my heart wants more. Give me the good this time. No cap, no lies. It's our encore.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. very quick break. Let's get back into it, shall we? If you want to share your thoughts this morning, here's the number to do so, 513-873-7134. We got a call on the line. Let's go straight to him. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Nathan. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
A couple of things. Hey, yesterday when I hung up the phone, you said some little jingle. What was that? Little, yeah. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, whatever it was. Like, what pack you talking about leaving?
Yeah, I said,
what
if you throw me
is
to
it?
the Wolves, because you guys are the alt middle Wolves, right? If you throw me to the Wolves,
Yeah.
I'll emerge leading the pack. That's what I said, yep.
And that's what I want to know. Like, what pack? Because the alt middle, like, back on October 16, 2018, you made an open query for help. Can we start another faction to stop the alt middle? They too thorough. That's what you said on these airways.
Yeah, I just said to throw
So
you
what
off,
pack
and I
you
could
gonna
tell that it
leave?
worked.
What pack did you leave?
I'm talking about your pack. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the alt middle Wolf pack. I'm running
same
that.
pack, the same pack that you openly asked. Should I ban them from this show?
I don't remember
You
saying
talking
all
about that pack?
I don't remember saying all
Oh
that.
yes, you did.
Okay,
Oh yes, the hell you did. But you don't remember banning Braxton from the Friends group? What pack you gonna leave?
Do I remember banning him from the? I might have. I don't remember actually. If I did, he deserved it. If I did, he deserved it.
The real shoppers remember. The real shoppers remember.
I mean,
and you banned me now, but that's another story.
I'm banning you now. Okay. You say so, brother.
For some reason, I can't find the group on my friends' page anymore.
Right? No, you're talking about you left the group. I didn't ban you. You left the group. You start complaining about something. People was talking about you or something like that. I think you said. It's hard to keep up with all these man feelings, but I believe that's what happened.
Okay. Man feelings that you started on October 16th, 2018, openly asking for help against the alt middle on this show.
So.
On the show that's named after you, you asked for help. You said we were too thorough.
If you say so.
Okay. But, that is what it is. I really called to talk about Kwame Brown. First of all, those of you who are loving his rants, especially to talk about Matt Barnes, you're a hypocrite if you like Colin Kaepernick, because he essentially called Matt Barnes Colin Kaepernick.
What?
A confused biracial dude who's got to be extra to get the blacks accepting. That's exactly what he's calling him. But at the same time, he's about to oversaturate himself and play himself out that quickly because he's letting off too many videos about the same stuff. Now it's getting tired. Like, all right, bro, I feel you. Let it breathe. Just relax. Jackson and Barnes are, circling the wagon, and they're basically proving themselves to be exactly what you called them by their responses. But then he went at Jamil Hill, because she put out a tweet, about it saying, Kwame chose violence. Maybe he didn't get that social media caption. That's the social media caption of the month. So-and-so chose violence, even though he didn't, say anything violent. He going, you women need to stay out of men's business, blah, blah, blah. He already obviously had smoke for Jamil Hill. He had a problem with her already. And that just made it come out. And then he went on then he went on, he went in on Charlemagne the God in another video. Right. And then he went in on black women. Huh?
Right. He going in on anybody and everybody.
Right. He's co-signing Kevin Samuels and Tommy Sotomayor. He's co-signing them, and he's going in on everybody now. Black women. He's like, who the one ain't getting our kids to read, blah, blah, blah. He just went in on just like, he just sounds like an old country, Bama ass curmudgeon.
He sounds like a man that was hurt. And so now his feelings are coming out. But, you just made a comparison I can't let go. Tony Sotomayor is nothing like Kevin Samuels. Two different type of men, two different type of shows. They're not the same.
Well, Tommy Sotomayor is saying that Kevin Samuels stole his stuff. Kwame talked about it. He's saying Tommy should be the. Tell me how he knows Tommy. He did Tommy's show years ago, and he was like, "Yeah, Tommy should get the credit, but Kevin is taking some of his stuff." He openly said that in the video, Kwame. I'm telling you. Now he's out. Now he's about to play himself because of the way he went in on black women and co-signing them too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, dude, like, you lit up Barnes and Jackson. You could have left it there. And now here comes the merch. My mama's cooking T-shirts, as you were saying. Yeah, y'all, you know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't had my mama's cooking. He's selling the merch.
He's selling merch. Oh, I ain't mad at him.
Yes.
Hold on, let me look this up. I didn't know he was selling merch.
My mama's cooking. Yes, it's got a pot. It's got a crock pot, with the glass lid open, saying my mama's cooking. You know what I'm saying? He's about to oversaturate himself and play himself real quickly. Even though he's trying to strike while the iron is hot. But he might have made it too hot the way he went in on black women. I'm telling you, that was like, wow, bro.
What do you say about black women?
I told you. I told you, he's like, y'all ain't getting our kids ready to read. No. He's like, you say Black Lives Matter, but it's the black women who ain't getting our kids ready to read and he just destroyed black women.
Huh. He sounds like some of the stuff you said about black women.
I ain't never said nothing like that.
You said it's exactly like that. You said that black women were single black females was part of the problem in the black community because they're not raising their sons for some of the same reasons. That's what you said.
And I also said that your big ass bullied the black woman, the superintendent.
Don't try to change it. That's what you said. You just like Kwame Brown.
I'm pointing out stuff I know I said. We don't know I said that. You're making stuff up.
I'm just saying. I don't have to make it up. You said it on the air. We're on here talking about how single black females. That was you. Own it. You said that single black females was the problem. They not raising the kids right. Look at the kids. That's what you said. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. That's what you said. I'm just saying.
I don't know what you said. You're making up stuff. Okay? I ain't never went in like that. I ain't never went in like that.
You two-faced. That's exactly what you went in on.
You might have just add some extras to it.
Nah, no need to. What you said was bad enough.
Yeah. Okay, well, what Kwame said was worse.
Nah, it was the same as what you said. Y'all both have a problem with black women.
Because within 24 hours, he's got 500,000 YouTube subscribers.
Yeah, he does.
You see what I'm saying? He's
Welcome
worse.
to the internet.
But at the same time, this is the distraction Black America needs. You like the last caller. That was a black lady. She's in here talking about the Republicans and all that corny stuff. No, Kwame got the bars you need to hear right now.
I'm with
you
that.
see what I'm saying? All that stuff was the 7 things you can't tell Republicans. Who gives a damn? We ain't gonna tell them nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't never been able to tell them nothing. Who give a damn about that corny shit? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Kwame's spitting the bars you need to hear right now. This is the distraction Black America needs. Because he said some stuff like, you women need to stay out of our business, blah, blah, blah. Men just talking, when he's going in on Jamil Hill, he went in on the white lady, Rachel Nichols. Like, you black women need to stand up and, tell her to stay out of black men business, blah, blah, blah. What if we was, it's the distraction we need, but he just needs to be careful and not oversaturated too early. You feel me?
I'm with you, brother.
Now, as far as your little pack reference, like I said, hey, it's a lie, but it's a valiant effort as opposed to being like the people who want to go straight for the balls, like they swim teachers. You know what I'm saying? It was unnecessary for him to do that. You could have thought of something more clever. That was a valiant effort by you, but it's still a lie because you can go back into your own show October 16th, 2018, when you begged for help on the air.
Did I?
And you openly queried and you openly queried banning us from the show. I specifically remember good brother Kush Rashid said, "No, don't ban them. Them cats got flavor." But
Okay.
I digress. Hey, brother, it's been real. I had fun.
Me
Do you
too.
have any questions, comments, or snide remarks?
I'm gonna have a remark or two once you get off the line.
Like you always do, because you just ain't got the heart to say it to my face. You
At
you
least I'm
Steven Jackson.
consistent.
You Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes. I'm Kwame. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Kwame.
Oh!
You sound like you stubbed your toe or something. I'll say it again. You throw me to the wolves, and I'll emerge leading the pack. Simple as that. That's alt middle wolves, Siberian huskies. It makes no difference. It's all the same. All right, let me play this here. This is
now the Breakfast Club done joined in. Now I think y'all gonna have to be the next victim. So Charlemagne the God, you want to talk as if you know me, because like I say, you part of that. You like Steven Jackson and Becky with the good hair. Y'all probably be at them same parties. So Steven Jackson, rapist, Charlemagne the God rape case guy that actually pled guilty and got away with it. We're gonna name you got away with it. So because I called two gentlemen that you can clearly hear on your podcast that they tapped some.
He said we're gonna call him got away with it. Now I don't remember all the details, but I know that Charlemagne admitted something that I thought was real inappropriate. Talking about he was drinking with a woman and she was out and he had sex with her anyway, which to me is straight up weakness. I can't respect that at all. What? Did he plead guilty? Let me Google this. Pleading guilty out here, Charlemagne? 2001. Yep, I do remember that. I do remember going back 3 years ago, the accuser wanted the case to be open. And I remember that Charlemagne the God admitting to giving women Spanish fly and then having sex with her while she wasn't coherent. To me, that's rape. Like, how is what he admitted any different than Bill Cosby? Why isn't Charlemagne the God in jail? I think it's because there was a statute of limitations and that nobody really gave a damn about the victim. Her name was Jessica Reed. And she accused him of raping her down in South Carolina, where I believe Charlemagne the God is from, when she was just 15 years old. And as I understand it, Charlemagne the God, while not talking about that particular case, admitting to giving a woman Spanish fly, which I don't even know what the hell that is and what it's supposed to do, and then having sex with her while she was wasted. So we shall see. I guess it was nothing there. I don't know. We'll see. He said it's the distraction that we need. I don't know if we need it, but we got it. We got it. America, the world police. We see Daddy Cheney hasn't said a damn word about his daughter getting smacked down. That's because all repubs fall in lockstep to win above all else as they do. TNT writes, only 2 Ohio representatives voted for the commission. It moves to the Senate. People need to call Steve Shabbat and Rob Portman to push them to vote for the commission. I agree with you. We do. Anthony writes, we shot ourselves in the foot for believing that crap. What crap is that? Iman Pearl just has a whole bunch of dollar signs. It's all about the money. Nat writes, politicians and lawyers. Politicians and lawyers. Deaf Your Moments writes, good morning. Oh, good morning to you. Let's go back to the phones and say good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, it's Brother 252. Good morning to you.
Hey, Brother 252. Good morning.
Hey, man, let me tell you this real quick. I never heard that story. So Charlemagne the God using the Spanish fly. Now, don't you rock with the Breakfast Club?
Yeah, I think they got a great platform. They do great interviews.
Okay. So now Bill, not Gates, Bill Gates. That's another story too. So now he's a freak, but
he's a freak.
So Bill Cosby,
Oh yeah. They got some. They coming out now with dirt talking about the board was investigating him on the way out the door. So he has some shenanigans going on too, but that's a different story. Now Bill Cosby was giving women Spanish fly. He even he was talking about it in comedy bits. It was just that open back in the day. Now, if Charlie, but one thing about Cosby, man, that was always different, and the Republican pundit, what's the young lady used to be on Fox, light skinned lady, young lady, very cute when she was young, Stacey Dash. Stacey Dash said Cosby was always very professional with the kids. Now, so you got to break your allegiance with the Breakfast Club. Charlamagne the God out here raping babies. I mean, how does this guy have a platform and you just so against Cos, man? And Cos, to me, Cos improprieties was with women. Was with women that were just as wild as he was. So I don't see how that go. I don't know how long you've been knowing about the Charlamagne the God story. First time I ever heard about it. Very unfortunate though. Very unfortunate, but still a serious thing, man. Just terrible what goes on in communities, man, especially our community. It's the one I care about so much, but just very, very unfortunate, man. Very unfortunate. But going back to the interview that you had a couple of weeks ago, man, with the sisters that were that was promoting I forgot how they put it, but they was really big on developing women in the city.
The women's, I forget it's called. It's I forget the name of it, but I know what you're talking about. You're talking about they were talking about the study they did about the upward mobility of black women in Cincinnati.
Yeah, great. That was a great interview, man. You brought out the MC Dangerous on that interview. And then the brother from California called in and talked about how he was helping his daughter because she was caring for Ellen's mother. Mm-hmm. And that was touching, man, because that same morning my daughter, which is 18 now, got a cell phone and she did not have to pay a down payment. And one of the things that we did and that organization sort of brought out is that one thing, and your daughter's coming up. We gave them credit lines. And one of the questions that came away from the interview was, basically, how do we give black women, so-called black women, a head start in an economy that just does not really support them? Give them credit lines. That probably saved my daughter $400 or $500 because 5-6 years earlier, I gave my boys, one of my sons, credit lines too late. And by the time he was ready to do business like that, he didn't have the same fortune and he had to move on until he could find a better deal. But that just kind of sparked me, how the brother said he was supporting his daughter. And but we do it all the time, man. We do it all the time. And I appreciate media like this, to where we can come on, we can talk about these things. But don't be out here promoting that Charlamagne the God no more, man. Matter of fact, what did Monique call him when she was up there on the interview, man? Call him by his real name.
I forget his real name. I can't recall
Stanley?
It. Yeah, I'm here. You hear me?
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. All right, Nate. Any questions for me?
No questions for you.
Hey, shout out to Fame.
He is hilarious, man. Y'all is so funny. Oh, man. It makes the day so much better. It really does. I appreciate the calls. He says, listen, we got to stop supporting Charlamagne the God. I can see that. I could definitely see that. I'm down with that. Paul Mooney is a race classic. One of my favorite comedians, #1. Health is Wealth. Cat Williams. Dave Chappelle is the next Paul Mooney. Yeah, but see, Paul Mooney he just said it so raw. You know what I'm saying? Paul Mooney was just so raw with it. He would just put it out there. You know what I'm saying? He would just say it. You know, he didn't worry about trying to be politically correct. And I think there should always be a place for that. Like, political correctness has its place. But then there's also a place for folks that just keep it 100 real and they just say whatever it needs to be said the way it needs to be said, right? I think there's a place for that too. So somebody writes, who worse, Billy Porter or Charlie Sheen? I don't know. I did hear that Billy Porter has been living with HIV for 14 years. What? You never know, man. That's why I say you can't trust nobody out here. You got it. You can't trust. You out there single or you doing whatever you do. Just make sure you taking every precautions because people will lie to you for sex. They'll lie to you in a second. Jenny writes, OMG, love Dick Gregory. TNT writes, Paul Mooney says saying the N-word made his teeth white. They lace in drugs, weed. My urine test came back with amphetamines. Jeffrey writes, we love smart women. Mrs. Love being black writes, good morning, fellow beautiful smart choppers. Kamara is in the house. She writes, good morning, everyone. TNT writes, you don't smile enough. You are too bitchy. You're too angry. You're not a looker. Why don't you worry about raising your family? You're too emotional. They say all that shit to women. Tiff writes, good morning. Tabitha writes, the Republican Party should all be made to take competency test. They'll probably pass too. Everything has a race component. Kamara writes, it's amazing to me how quickly Congress can pass hate crime legislation to Asians, but they drag their feet for us. She right about that. They got that done quick. She continues toward racisms of blacks. Absolutely. Mrs. Love being black writes, but they went Space Force. They believe in aliens. Anthony writes, white kids not being taught the real history and contributions blacks have made to the country will only help perpetuate them growing up believing whites made this country what it is, right? And in many cases, their parents have been miseducated and are ill-equipped to teach them the truth about it as well. So you just stuck on stuck. Lisa writes, just saw an article yesterday that says some places will eventually disappear due to the level of sea rising, right? And I guarantee you that the people that live in those places are probably the underprivileged and the highly melanated, to put it in a way. You already know it. Come on, climate change. I've tried to approach that climate change conversation. And I've just found that unless there's like a climate situation that's going on that most people don't want to touch, it's kind of like, I'm bored. I've been told that within the next, let's say, month or so, we may get a chance to see who the Democrats and the Republicans and the charter rights are going to give their endorsements to. That's going to sharpen that conversation a bit more. I'm reading that 95 people have picked up a petition to run for the 9 at-large seats on city council. For a petition to be approved, it must have at least 500, but no more than 1,000 valid signatures from Cincinnati registered voters. Currently, 12 people have officially filed petitions, and one of them was Derek Bauman, so that reduces it down to 11. All right, see you later, bud. See you later. Okay. Are we doing that? I'll get it out later. We doing that this morning, Mom? That's what we doing this morning? That's what we doing? Yeah. Let me see. Candidates Rob Harris, Bishop Todd O'Neill have also filed petitions. Jan Michelle McCurney just announced that she submitted her petitions to run, so she is running for re-election. I saw the image. So again, it's one thing. Oh, the Charter Right Committee has endorsed 8 candidates: Gallon G. Gordon, Jackie Frondorf, Bill Frost, Kevin Flynn, Cam Hardy, Steve Gooden, Liz Keating, and Jim Tarbell. Now, it's some of these names that stand out to me that I just can't get behind just off the strength of it. And there's some folks who I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see this. So the Charter Rights have endorsed 8 candidates: Gallon G. Gordon, Jackie Frondorf, Bill Frost, Kevin Flynn, Cam Hardy, Steve Gooden, Liz Keating, Jim Tarbell. As I understand it, 2 of them are African American. That's Galen Gordon and Cam Hardy. Jackie Frondorf, I believe her husband ran last time. I believe I know her husband. So it'll be interesting to see what she has to hear. Bill Frost, not hip. Kevin Flynn, no offense to Kevin Flynn, but we've been there, done that. I'm not, for any people that used to be on council coming back, I'm not feeling any of that. Same way with Jim Tarbell. Like, I'm sure they're great guys, but thank you, but no thank you. Okay, we want some new, fresh blood. We want to see some fresh faces, some new ideas. That's just me personally. Let me see. There's a lot of other people who are saying they're going to run. Jalen Alford, Michelle Dillingham, Brian Gary, Kurt Grossman, Reggie Harris, Evan Holt, Nick Jabin, Mark Jeffries, Scotty Johnson, Mika Owens, John Williams. I say at least 3 or 4 of those individuals I've been in contact with to have them come on the show. But I'll just so you know, my style is I want to talk to everybody that's on the ballot. I want to talk to everybody that's on the ballot. So if you want to come on the Nathan Ivey show, get your name on the ballot, get those signatures in. And when you get your signatures in, we'll have you come on. I want to do it that way. Because I don't want to waste time interviewing people that we're never going to chance to get a vote on. I don't want to waste my time. To come on this show is a very valuable thing. Okay, this is a very valuable space. And I don't want to waste my time and your time talking with people that aren't even going to be on the ballot. So once people get confirmed and they've got the proper, signatures in, then I'll be reaching out to them to have them come on the show, because now there's something to talk about. Just because you want to run, that's cool, but get your name on, go through all the paces before you come on this show. And then we can talk. And if that ends up being 25, 30, 40, 50 people, great. I'll do my best effort to try to talk to everybody. I'm also going to reach back out to the David Mann campaign to see if he's willing to come on the show, because I think it's important. I've been told he's still running his, white Democrat, but I want Republican vote strategy. It worked great for him in the primary. Kudos in primary. I mean, and bravo to his team. They were smart. But will that work in the general election? Will he be able to avoid black people? Or maybe he won't avoid black people. He'll just avoid this show. I don't know. But I will do my due diligence as a member of the media to reach back out to offer him some time to come on the show so we can see what he's all about. I make no assumptions. So we'll find out. Y'all still think the Constitution applies to us? Yeah, I do. I love our participants. I'm learning so much. Thank you, Nate and the Choppers. Thank you very much. That's why we're here. Greg Rice, good morning. Let's see. Tracy Rice, Fame's memory is insane. You're right about that. Not in a good way. Not in a good way. Kamara Rice, always in their feelings. Crystal Rice, man feelings equals sucker attacks. Cass is in the house. Hey, good morning to you, Cass. Kamara Rice, but why though? Right, but why? Let's see. I heard Colin is dating Sanaa Lathan. Who is Colin? Colin who? Colin Powell? Kamara writes, sophomore attitudes. Dale writes, pot, meat, kettle with Fane. Right. Tabitha writes, what does this bitch ass mean? Shannon writes, gosh darn, words of the day. Dale writes, he's about to get in his feelings in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Glenn writes, so he's on the mic destroying black women in education while sounding like an illiterate fool. Kwame in his feelings, and he was a bust drafted by the GOAT. Jericho writes, isn't Matt Barnes a woman beater? That's new to me. No, I think he beat up Derek Fisher. His ex-wife in a house that he was still paying for per the settlement started dating somebody that he played basketball with. And again, some women have no virtue. They have no integrity. They'll just do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that showed him a little bit of attention, if they think the motherfucker's cute, they'll run with it. And so apparently Matt Barnes found out that this dude that he used to ball with was coming to his house and sleeping with his ex-wife around his kids, and he didn't like it. He got in his feelings about it, and so he put his hands on him. So that's man stuff. There's sometimes as a man, there's some things you got to deal with. You can only deal with your hands. It's just what it is. Let me see here. Becky with the good hair. Adult DHD. Child, he definitely chose violence. Absolutely. He had a case back in the day. You talking about Matt Barnes, did he? Let me see. I didn't know that. Google this. Matt Barnes arrested for demand. Yeah. I saw that. And he explained it, and it was some BS. It was some BS with an overzealous police officer, if I remember correctly. At least that's the way he explained it. Charlemagne the Cosby. Now I want to go ahead and nominate that for one of the best flows today. Here. Can I get a here on that? Charlemagne the Cosby. Now that's funny. Now that is funny. Yeah, I cringed when I heard the things Charlemagne the Cosby said about Kwame and his family. It was not called for. Really talk about his family. I ain't see all of that. Angela writes, he's an F-boy. Been cool on him for a while. Maurice writes, did he go to prison? Mr. Cosby was a target. I don't condone what he did, but reality is reality. Natasha Mitchell and Nick Jabin, City Council. Okay. Some new blood. I'm cool with that. Krista writes, I asked Siri about Spanish fly. He's telling me about a damn beetle. What is it? Spanish fly is something, it's like a liquid that is supposed to, like, what I remember being younger is it was supposed to like turn women on, like make them horny for sex. Okay. But I also think that sometimes Spanish fly is used as a cover for date rape drugs. And people will say it's Spanish fly when it's really a date rape drug. It's a drug that will render you unconscious for a short amount of time and you won't even remember what happened. And some of these sicko men was like dropping in the women's drinks. Oh yeah, I'll help you get home. Oh yeah, this is my sister right here. Yeah, I got her. And then taking her somewhere and just sexually abusing her, which I got no respect for. Fame writes, I told y'all about Cosby. Victims don't take pills, hoes do. That's right. It's the Woman's Fund. Thank you so much, Sister Iris. It was the Woman's Fund, right? Exactly. That was a great conversation. Maurice writes, don't forget Eddie Griffin. Let me see. Somebody writes, Dave Chappelle is the realest comedian out there right now. On some levels, yeah. On some levels, I'm with you. I enjoy his comedy. Thank you so much. Listen, I didn't expect to do this, but I gotta make a quick I gotta leave the show. Actually, I got something that has just come up that I need to do. But I want to give you a heads up and remind you that season 3 of Ask Ashley Midday Juice is coming soon. And I know if you missed her show, it's always a lot of fun. She is super, super talented and very fun to watch as she navigates the complexities of other people's issues. If you've never watched Midday Juice, the way it works is simple. Basically, people send her emails about things that are going on in her life, and she simply gives advice. So it's a lot different than what I do and a lot of the shows we have on the network. And she'll be back real soon. Midday Juice, season 3. Season 3. Okay? Look for that. Look for that. All right, let's get back to it. All right. I need to make a move here. Hold on one second. Hold on. Give me 1 second here because maybe I don't. Let me take a quick break real quick. Real quick break. Let me check on something real quick. Things come up. And we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, family. Yeah, I need to make a move. I really appreciate you in advance. Where we at here? Yeah, yep. Good morning to you. I know this is super early. I hate to do it, but I got to make a move. I'll be back with you bright and early tomorrow morning. Today's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. Is It Just Me podcast at 12:30? If you missed it, I'm telling you, go back and circle back and check out the Is It Just Me podcast from last week. If you don't have time for all of it, just check out that last 20 minutes. A blistering commentary about the soon-to-be former school superintendent, Laura Mitchell. Worth your time if you live in Cincinnati. And I wonder if you agree with her. Check it out. As I said, I'll say it again, Midday Juice Season 3 coming up soon. Keep your eyes on CDM. And with that, I'm out, family. Have an excellent rest of your Thursday. Who knows? Since the show is leaving a little early, I feel like I got a good hour or so left in me. I might do a late night Nate today. We might go live. You never know, okay? So just keep your eyes on your notifications. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. If you're interested in sponsorship or advertising opportunities for this show or perhaps Midday Juice, again, brand new season coming up. And I'm in the process of lining up sponsors for the next season of Midday Juice. They hit me with a direct message. We do reach people 100%, and perhaps we can be a part of your social media, your digital strategy, and we can talk about ways to do that. All right, hit me with a direct message, and I will respond immediately. Have an excellent rest of your day. RIP to a legend. And be careful. When you say you want all the smoke, sometimes you might get it. With that, I'm out.